Hi everyone, welcome back to our live series. This is TWIP Live. This is Al. Of course, I'm Alex Lindsay. Frederick Johnson here. He is coming in to share the love, share some.
We're going to talk about all kinds of cool stuff.
Look at this. We got stuff in the studio. We're not sitting around.
Stuff.
You know, in the past, you might have seen us sitting around a table and talking about photography. No more talking.
Yeah, I'm done with that. Shut up and
Going
shoot.
to it. So what do we got here?
Shut up and shoot. So what we're going to do. So first of all, we are, This Week in Photo is going to be doing workshops. You know, lots of cool things coming up in 2012. And we're actually doing one this weekend. We talked about the meetup group on Sunday.
Now, if you're watching this and you're excited about that, I have bad news.
It's
sold out.
Full. I mean, these meetups.
They're full. If you're interested, where do people go to? They go to TWIP Photo.
Yeah,
or This Week in Photo.
They go to This Week in Photo, or they can go. You can go to FVJ/me/TWIP Meetup, TWIP-Meetup. It'll redirect you because the Meetup URL is long. Or just search on Meetup for This Week in Photo. It's fine.
Yeah, and so, but the key is you got to get ahead and you got to sign up because these they're gone.
You got to be on my list. You got to get on the list, and we send it out. And as soon as people see them, they're in there.
Pretty soon there's going to be a door with a little slot, and you're going to open it up, and you're going to go aperture.
Yeah, the photography speakeasy. Yeah, we'll definitely do that. Yeah, so this one on Sunday. This is a preview of that one. So this is a True Blood sort of themed model shoot. The theme is irrelevant for this. What I wanted to do for this particular kind of workshop / demonstration is show that you don't need a whole bunch of crazy gear to do this do photography, right?
So you don't need a medium format digital back.
No, you don't need all these lights. I mean, you need the stuff that I have here, which we're going to walk around and talk about. Is stuff that you can assemble from Amazon.com, relatively low. I'm going to post the shot list or the equipment list with URLs to links to everything in here with prices, so you can see what everything costs. You know, including the computer, everything. You know, so. Yeah, so I just want to show that for very little, you can do some really cool photography. You know,
so you walk around. So the basic. You got a. This is not your normal camera.
No, normally I shoot with a D7000 or a D700 or a D3. You know, this is my new D7000.
You got a D7000.
Yes.
Now, why did you get a D7000? You already have a D3 and a D700.
Video. I needed video, and particularly a Nikon video camera or Nikon DSLR with video that had audio in on it.
And how is the video on the D7000?
Insane. You know, insane. I have motion sickness now, so I have the affliction because of this camera. No, it's so cool.
You thought I was crazy when I used it.
You are crazy, but I went to this conference over the weekend, the 1197 iPhoneography conference, and I took this thing. I took some sticks, you know, tripod, and a light that Ron Brinkman recommended, the LED that I stuck on top here, and lav mic, and I interviewed a bunch of people there, and it looks
so luscious,
insane. It looks like Pixel Corps did it. You know,
Well, it's funny.
I did this.
Yeah, we did IBC that way with the 5D, and you know, it's a little hard to deal with so many ENG shoots. Yeah. But everyone keeps. I get these emails all the time. Like, what did you shoot that with?
Yeah. And it's just this thing, and it was the cool thing about it is because I thought I could do this with because I have a little, you know, the little Sony Handycam with the flip out, you know, and it has audio in and everything. So I'm like, okay, this will be fine. But no. I mean, the setup of just using this thing and flicking it in live view mode, hit record, focusing, it's like everything I know about photography, but I can...
But it's all moving.
I can translate that to video and do these cool interviews. And I imported everything into Final Cut Pro 10, you know, and now I'm in the process of editing. It's working fine. Yeah. You know?
Slamming and jamming.
But I am not the... You know, I'm not editing Lord of the Rings or anything.
But I think that's Apple's point, right?
Yeah.
So it's a whole other show, and so you've got a 24 to 85 on here.
Yeah, and this is a consumer 24 to 85.
So this is not a fix. This isn't super expensive.
No, this lens you can get from Calumet. In fact, I priced it out this weekend or a couple days ago.
A little bit. Can we get a side shot here?
Yeah, sure. You can release it right there. You can get it from this lens from Calumet for around $300. Right. And you'll see some of the shots from it. We're going to shoot live, and you're going to see them in the stream. What we shoot from this lens, and it's fine. You know, it's a good walk around lens. It's got a macro mode you can do. You know, it's cool. It's fine, and I like it because it's so inexpensive. I don't mind banging it around. You know, it's a cheap sort of tank lens. If I destroy it, I'll go get another one. You know,
exactly.
I'll save up and I'll go get another one. You know? So that's the camera. So on top of the camera,
now you've got. Now this is a pretty nice tripod.
This is a heavy tripod, though. This is not your carbon fiber state-of-the-art tripod. This is I brought this tripod specifically because it is heavy, and I bought it 10 years ago. 10 years ago I bought this tripod.
It still looks like it's new.
And it looks like it's new. I spent the money to buy this and a good head. This is a Manfrotto.
I have that head. 486.
486, yeah. And I bought these both 10 years ago. And
it's worth, Manfrotto makes a bunch of these, and it's worth getting a slightly larger ball on the ball head, because what I find is that it makes it a lot more stable. When you get the little one, it wobbles a little bit. Yeah.
I love this because this, it's just, you can just whip this thing around and then tighten it and it stays. Whip it around, get your level, tighten it, and it's right there. It's not going to move. The tripod is a little heavier. You notice I got these leg warmers on here.
It's very nice. Is it getting ready to do some like ballet?
It's getting ready to do a flash dance. But no, these are so that when you collapse it and you carry it around, it doesn't dig into your shoulder.
Right. You got your very sensitive shoulders.
I have sensitive shoulders, but these protect my sensitive shouldures. But this is less necessary if you have a carbon fiber tripod, because it's just like air.
Yeah, exactly.
If you got if you take
a carbon fiber and you fill it with some helium, you have to actually hold it down.
You got to put some weight on it. No, this one is actually made of a neutron star material, so it looks
great.
Very heavy.
It's great.
Yeah, so I love it. I'm happy with it. I don't plan to upgrade or side grade or whatever to a carbon fiber anytime soon, because this is fine. In fact, I like the sturdiness of the heavy tripod anyway. So that's this gear. You'll notice there's a cable coming out of this camera. It's just your standard USB mini to regular USB on the computer over here, and it's plugged into a MacBook Pro. I'm running Lightroom in full screen mode here, and it's running in tethered mode. So every shot I take is going to show up in there, and I'll take one real quick just to show you that. So take a look at that. So that will load into the camera, or into Lightroom.
There we go.
Like that. Yeah, of course,
classic.
It's out of focus, but there it is. Just like that. So this is what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be shooting and tethering right in there. And that was easy. I mean, before, Alex, I don't know if you remember.
Oh, it used to be this long, drawn out.
This, and then this software to catch the image and put it in that watched folder, and then the software imports it and all this stuff. This is out-of-the-box Lightroom. I just plugged this cord into that computer, ran Lightroom, file, tethered capture mode.
And Aperture does the same thing. Either one, where there's Lightroom or Aperture, it's just an easy process.
Yeah, I love it. So it's fine. So now it's perfect for demonstrations like this, because we're shooting right into there. The only thing I don't like about it, to be honest, is it's slow.
The tether?
It's tether. Yeah, it'd be great if it was wireless.
Well, I have to admit, a lot of times when we're shooting, I shoot a lot with the HDMI connected to a monitor.
You do?
Even when we're doing stills.
Really?
Yeah, you get used to it.
That's hard for me.
See, I find it much easier, because I'm with the so I can look through there and I can see whatever I see.
Yeah.
But with it on the monitor, with the Canon, you have you can go to 10x. You sit there and focus, and then you pop back out and fire.
Yeah.
And so you're watching this video. When you hit fire, it just goes. Fires.
I could see for this kind of application where you're moving around and you're shooting a model.
That could be hard.
That's hard. But if you're doing like still lifes on a table.
So mostly I do stuff where I'm on a tripod.
Right.
So
tripod,
I don't.
Perfect. Yeah. And a little later, if I remember, remind me, I'll show you the cable release or the shutter release I bought for this thing from Amazon. I think it was $7.
Yeah.
$7 for a wireless shutter release for this camera.
Wireless? Oh, I thought you were saying $7. I was like, oh yeah, a little metal thing.
No, it's IR.
Wow.
There's 2 IR receivers on this camera. There's one here and one on the back right there, and it trips it. Boom.
That's
instant.
awesome. That's awesome.
Lovely. So
we're connected. We're connected to your laptop. And that's going out.
To the laptop, and under the laptop, you have to.
Oh, look at that! It's another tripod.
Stand. There's another tripod underneath there.
Oh, and it's got a.
There is a stand specifically for this 15-inch computer, so that you can.
Who makes this?
That makes all the difference. I bought this from Calumet Photographic. In fact, the tripod and the stand come from Calumet Photographic in San Francisco.
And it just hooks. It just hook onto the 3/8.
Yep. Spins right in there. Yeah. Just turn that, and it comes right up.
Oh, I need one of these. I need one of these for something different, not for photography. I need for my exercise bike. Look at that, and it's really light.
Yeah, and it's just a standard tripod with no head on it.
And how much is this?
This was $39.
Oh man, you just solved some big problems for me.
$39.
That's all I gotta say.
I mean, for this kind of stuff, it's perfect.
Yeah.
Especially when you're doing tethered shoots. I would recommend.
This is like QVC for photography right now.
You gotta have this.
How much is this? It's
flash prices on there. Right?
Yeah, it's like you can get this right now. It's normally $39, but you can get it today for the next 10 minutes for $25. $24.99. Order now. You'll see the number right here at the bottom. Sorry, yeah.
The TWIP. What do we call that? What do we call it? TWIP.
Yeah,
TWIP shopping.
TWIP. Yeah,
TWIP shopping.
Yeah, exactly.
Network. Okay, so let's move this way.
But see, now this has got to be expensive because there's gold.
Yeah,
you know, gold has been getting expensive.
It is gold plated.
Yes, exactly. So you have this is a who makes this one?
This is, I believe, this is Westcott. Let me look at this thing real quick.
And is this one of the 5-in-1s? And
that is exactly the 5-in-1. It's a multi-disc. It's from Photoflex.
Multi-disc.
So 5-in-1. And why is it 5-in-1, Alex?
Because you can do many different colors.
5.
Hey,
you're like,
anything more than 2 is impressive.
Cinco de Mayo, right?
Yeah. So. anything more than 2 is many because you can get the one. So how does that work?
Yeah. So this is 5-in-1 because there's gold 1, silver 2 on the other side. You can take this off and reverse it.
So you unzip this.
Yeah, you unzip that, and inside
you've got
there's another gold, a more reflective gold, and then this is white diffusion. So you just reverse that.
And then does this act as a silk? So this acts as a silk if you open it all the way up. That's pretty cool.
All these different light modifiers in one little package.
That's great.
Is awesome. And then we've got this thing.
And it's one of the things that just kind of fold.
You flip it and it goes in that little circular thing.
And after you get good at it, I know people get afraid of it. After you get good at it, it's really not that hard.
Yeah.
You just
there are instructions on YouTube if you
yeah, exactly.
on how to fold these. But the cool thing for this is if you have a friend or whatever, they can hold it for you and do all that.
That's great.
But if you don't have any friends,
this is awesome.
So this arm holds it. It's got a little grippy thing on.
And it's adjustable.
Side. It's adjustable, and you can twist it. It's got a little ball and socket over here. You can twist it and put this thing wherever you want. That's
awesome.
Just like that. And
how expensive is it? How much that set our viewers back today?
This arm here is going to cost you about $30.
That's
this
great.
stand is about the same. You know,
right.
So we're looking at about $60 for this thing here. I think it's going to be about $60 or so.
Right.
So yeah, $100 or so bucks, and you'll have
that sandbag.
You got to have a sandbag.
By the way, yeah, you do have to have a sandbag.
Yeah, let me hold this thing up.
Yeah.
Let me hold that up.
Yeah.
Got to have sandbags. That is a sandbag. Although Catherine Hall gave me a great tip on sandbags. On what do you call it? Amazon. They sell sandbags.
Yes.
Right? But they're empty because they'd be clearly expensive to ship. Under the presumption that you'll buy sand or go get sand and put them in there, fill it up, and it'd be kind of messy, whatever. One tip is to, before putting the sand in the sandbag, put it in a baggie and zip it and put the baggie in the sandbag itself. That way you have that layer of insulation and it doesn't get all over the place.
Right.
The third tip from Catherine Hall was to put buckshot in there, which is heavy. Heavy, you know. So you can put less in there. So you have more control. It's cheaper and all that, and it takes up less space.
We order them empty, and I've been thrown to just throwing gravel in them or whatever.
Yeah.
I've gone out
at some point.
I've gone to a shoot like just found some gravel, stuck it in there. The one thing I will say is that if you're in a tropical island, taking the sand off the beach and putting it in there turns out to be kind of smelly when you get home. That's all. In case you're wondering, it's got kind of a beach kind of yucky.
People don't curb their dogs on the beach.
No, it's not so much that. It's more like the mold, kind of that musty smell.
Oh yeah. So you're gonna get some clean sand.
Yeah, get clean.
Put it in there. But anyway, with a sandbag, with a stand, and with the arm and this thing, you've got a really good light modifier and reflection system going on here. And just one quick note, all this, you'll notice that there's only one light here.
Right.
We're only using one main light source. We're using this guy. We're going to bounce the light off of this, and we're going to go for some dramatic effects when we get the model out here. But that's the whole point. The workshop that we're doing, that we're building, that this is a preview of, is called the One Night, One Light stand.
Nice.
There's a one light stand right there.
Boom, boom.
So, okay, let's work our way back. Here's the other guy. This is a background that pops out just like this thing. Right? So it twists into a little circular bag, and you put it on a stand. It's on a stand. We can flip this around. There's a stand in the back. You can reverse this and shoot white for high key or black on the other side.
And they make all kinds of, they make ones that are green. They make ones that are
Love this thing.
Is this Westcott?
This is Westcott. Yeah. Yep. Again, from Amazon. $60, I think. I'm going to say something around there. But it's a background, that's the big thing.
Right.
Put a background on there and you're good to go. And here's a stand for it. This will hold smaller ones. you know, so you can grip it down there and hold it, or it can hold reflectors as well.
And this has got like a little latch at the bottom, right? You can kind of pull it to something if you want to.
Yeah, that's what that guy is.
Yeah.
So, so you can connect that down.
Yeah.
And that's it. Now we have our background in place. And all this stuff goes up. Literally, I set this up. These guys watched. Just set it up in 15 minutes, 10 minutes, something like that.
So luxurious. We take a little longer to set up our video stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See,
this is great.
This is like quick and go. This is a good setup for like if photographers want to do this kind of thing. You set this stuff up. It'd be great for like office social media portraits, or something like that. Bring everybody in and do like a social media shot for everybody. Get the word out that you're a photographer. You know that kind of
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay, here's a pièce de résistance, the main light. So what's going on here, Alex?
So you got your tripod.
Yep.
Or your light stand. You got some dirt.
This is a collapsible light stand. So take a look at that and let me show you what it actually looks like when it's folded.
Tiny.
This is it folded. Manfrotto. Tiny.
That's great.
On purpose. Everything collapses down into a...
And you can put this in a roll-on.
Oh yeah.
You know, so you can really get almost this entire thing into a, not quite, you could probably put it in, but you can almost get it into a
Yeah.
It's very cool.
Yeah, so we got that. So that's the stand here. And then, of course, another sandbag at the bottom weighing this thing down. But here's the important stuff. Of course, there's a strobe on top. This is a Nikon SB900 that's in, it'll be in remote mode when we start shooting because the master is going to be the strobe on top of the camera over there. So we'll just turn that on.
And how do these talk to each other?
The strobe on top of the camera flashes, and in that flash it sends a series of pulses that communicate exposure data. So it's reading the subject through the lens, TTL, getting the exposure information, then sending that back to the camera and telling the camera exactly how much light to put out. And all that happens in the blink of an eye.
And then how does the camera tell this to flash?
Through the same thing.
So through the same thing.
Yeah, so it's all that. So it's saying, okay, I've measured the light, set your exposure to this, put out this much power.
Go.
All that.
All like that. All
when
that.
When you see when I take the picture, there's like a brrr, before, and that's like a Morse code that these things are communicating together.
Got it.
It's awesome. The only drawback, and that's part of the Nikon CLS system, right? You can have tons of these cameras all
and they'll all fire at the same time
from that one little one, as long as they can see that one camera up there. If they can't see it, then they don't go off, and that's where Pocket Wizard comes in with their Pocket Wizard system. Then it goes wireless RF, and then you can put them anywhere. You put it in a helicopter and trigger. You know. So, just to go quickly through this, there's a collapsible umbrella on top of this guy, right here, and this collapses down tiny, right? So it goes in the bag with this thing, and you got a fully portable system, just like that.
And if it rains, you're set.
No, you don't want to use it in there. One time you can use that in there. And then on top, this is an important piece right here, Alex. This is actually holding this guy right here is actually holding the strobe to the light stand.
Right.
You want to order that because if you order a light stand,
just a lot of,
you can't figure out how to get these things to marry together. This marries them together.
And you can adjust it.
You can adjust it up and down and do all your stuff. So it's very simple but critical. If you don't have it, your life is going to not be happy. And then this is the battery pack. The SSD9.
Do you need this battery pack to run this?
Negative. You don't. Okay. I have it on there.
It just means you can run it for a long time that way.
You can shoot all day with this thing.
Right.
Yeah. That's why I have it. You could take this off and just go with the strobe only.
Right.
Yeah. So that's it.
Nifty. So that's
the
package.
That's the setup. That's all we got. This is all our stuff right here.
So now the only thing we're missing?
We're missing talent.
Talent.
We need a model.
If we only had a model. If we only had a model.
We only had a model.
All right.
So our beautiful model is coming out.
Yes.
And we're going to take some shots of her.
Okay, and I'm going to get out of the way and let you just...
No, you're going to help.
Oh, I'm going to help.
Assist.
Okay, you can talk to me. All right. What do I need to do, boss?
All right. You need to stand there and look like you're important. All right. So, say hello to everybody. So I'm going to put you on your mark right here. And what we're going to do, we're just going to run through a series of shots. And I'm going to... Like when we do the sort of real workshop, some of the things that I demonstrate are how do you communicate with a model? How do you pose a model?
Right.
You know, how do you not intrude on the model but still get the pose that you're looking for? Because you don't want to be building her like a pipe cleaner. You want to sort of work with her professionally. So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to start off with some simple shots just to sort of warm things up a little bit, and then we'll do some really cool shots.
Okay, great.
And move from there. one of the cool things that we're going to do, Alex, at the end of this, so we don't have time to go into post-production and all that, but I'm going to take some of the shots that I do of our model here and probably do a webinar in about a week and invite the TWIP audience in to see me retouch the shots of her live. So, and then that'll be
I was going to see if I get some of those shots and play with them a little bit.
You can, absolutely. Well, you do the webinar. I don't know.
Ah, there we go. There we go. Next week.
Yeah.
I'm there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. You ready? Yeah. All right. So let's turn you this way a little bit. Cool. All right. So I'm going to pose her just sort of a normal pose to start, and we're going to take a couple shots. We're not going to go with anything outrageous to begin with. So I'm going to have you keep your feet together, and then put your weight on your back leg. There you go, just like that. Hands on your hips. There you go. Stand up straight. Turn your face towards the camera a little bit. Shoulders back this way some. And notice how I'm posing her by just demonstrating. And sometimes you want to pose people by demonstrating the pose yourself. Like if it's a particularly sort of intricate pose, just do it. You know, like, yeah. Not like that. You know. We don't do that kind of stuff. Okay, so let's turn your body this way just a little bit more. Good. Keep your body right there, and just your head is going to be this way. There you go. And chin down a little bit, and eyes up. Just like that. So that's the first pose.
Right.
So we'll get our light position, just like this, and we're going to take some shots.
And do we want these on or do we want these off?
Yeah, let's. We can't dim those, can we?
Let's
leave them on for now.
Okay.
Leave them on. So the first
we
thing
can't
we'll
dim
do,
them.
we can dim them. Okay, let's see how it looks. I'm going to take my first shot with this guy in here as a color reference, so I can make sure that my colors are dialed in.
And this is just the Macbeth chart.
This is a Gray Tag Macbeth color checker chart. So, and what's that for, Alex? What do you do with that later?
We use that to make sure that as we're syncing photos together, or we do it for video, to make sure that they're all going to be in the same space, that they're all correct, they're going to be in the same space, they're going to be doing, you know, so it gives us a state of the truth.
A known reference.
Yeah, absolutely, because we know what that's supposed to be.
Yeah. Otherwise, when you're shooting something like this, you got to look for, if you wanted to color balance this particular scene, I'd be trying to balance off the whites in her eyes or something to find something that's a known value.
Absolutely.
With this, I have a series of known values, and I don't have to guess.
Absolutely.
Right? Okay, here we go. First shot. Okay, look right into the lens. All right. There we go. Okay, so now I shot that. Camera is shooting it through this USB cable over there, and there's the first shot on the screen. Now, one light, right, we're using. So we're going to play around with the lights a little bit. What do we lose by using one light? We lose modeling. Right. You know, especially against the black background with a dark-skinned model with dark hair. So if I wanted to whip out another light, which I'm not going to, I would place it behind her and sort of light her from the back to get rim lighting on her. So this would be my main light with a kicker in the back to get some separation on that. And then I can control the power of each light directly from here.
How do you control the power with each light?
So you can do it from the back, and I'll show you. You know, we'll demonstrate that later. But I can also control f-stop variation here. Right. You know, of the overall exposure. So
you do overall exposure because you can control
each light individually as well. Yeah, and I'll show you that. Yeah, it's powerful, the Nikon CLS system. Okay, so we can
brought to you by Nikon.
Brought to you by
Nikon.
Yes.
All right.
Okay, so let's just take a couple shots. Okay, make sure you're standing straight up. Don't slouch. No slouching. No slouching on my set. Yeah. Okay, turn this way just a little bit. Head back towards me some. Good. Chin down some. And I'm going to have you looking up at me with your eyes. Now, watch this shot. A little bit. Good. See that again. Okay, give me a little bit of a tilt over this way with your head and chin down some. Good. Look right up at me. Nice. Okay, give me a little bit more of a smile. Good. What kind of smile was that?
I can't.
There you go. Better. Just like that. Good. Okay. Now see, I shot a rapid succession of like 6 or 7 shots right there, and they're still loading into the computer, right? So it takes time for this to load in. That's the one negative of this using this cord is like it's not immediate, so you have to calibrate yourself towards what's happening. Okay, let's do a couple more shots. So turn around and face the background a little bit, or maybe kind of like in this direction.
And as Frederick's working, just a reminder that if you're watching and you have questions, make sure to put them in the question engine. You'll see a link
Let's
to
do
the question
like
engine.
kind of
So
one
go
of
ahead
these
and
actions.
ask questions.
And then you're going to be looking
sign
back
in,
at me.
both them up
so
and
I'm gonna
down.
have you
do all those things,
at me.
and we will ask them a little later as he's
like
working.
right here.
So.
Okay.
And then I'm going to do some of you looking down that way a little bit. Okay. And you got to step over the cable.
Yes, or bad things happen. There's a lot of connected.
There's a lot of action going on in here. Okay. Cool. Hold that right there. Right up at me. Getting in close. And when I'm focusing here, Alex, I'm focusing on her eyes all the time.
That's
single time.
pretty much all anyone cares about.
Yep.
You can take everything else out of focus. As long as the eyes are in focus, it's in focus.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
And if they're not, then the photo's immediately wrong.
Yep.
Okay. Right up at me. Good. Beautiful. Okay, let's take a look at those. Okay, see how they line up?
It's great.
They come in. And you can look at these big here, like things that I would look at when I'm looking at this photo in particular are, this is a great shot. It's going to look good when we do our post-processing and everything on it. Her eyes are amazing, but I don't like this. This is kind of a strong wrinkle on her neck right there. So I see that immediately. So I'm going to repose her to get rid of that.
Right. As opposed to just
taking it out in Photoshop? Well, then if you take that out in Photoshop, something's going to be wrong. It's like, who turns their neck that much without any wrinkles? Okay, so let's turn you back this way, towards me just a little bit more. Yeah, just like that. Good. Okay, bring your head this way some. Good. This time I'm going to have you kind of looking down there. Perfect. Awesome. Okay, hold that. Now, Alex, can you take that light?
yes.
Because we're looking a little flat on her. I think these are killing us here.
Okay, so we want to bring those down.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's. I got it. You want me to turn them all the way off, or do you want me?
Let's try them all the way off because I'm seeing nothing but flat lighting on this. It's not that kind of shit. Okay. All right, let's try this again. Okay, look right at me. Yeah, look at me this time. Let's see what this looks like. Okay, let's see what turning off the studio lights did to the exposure. A little better. A little better. Looks so much better on those displays.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. Okay,
So
so
now
Alex,
all your lights are off.
if you can move, Alex, that light back that way just a little bit and aim it back towards our model. Yep, right there. And then turn it on its axis back towards her a little bit. Good. Right there. All right. Okay, right at me. Beautiful. Hold that. Okay, now let's see what we got here. So we moved it just a little bit. So we get a little bit of modeling. So we're shooting with this shoot-through umbrella, which is giving us this nice wraparound feel of light, and we're bouncing the light from this reflector.
And part of that is
side.
also that it's a very you have a very your light source is very close to your model, so that's
Yes.
also giving you part of that big look.
Yeah, and you want that. I mean, the thing about lighting, especially when you're lighting people like this, is you want, if you're doing portraits, you want large light
Well,
sources.
when we're doing interviews, we want that light source right outside of frame.
Yeah.
You know, like we just want it right next to them.
Yeah, because the rule of thumb is the larger the light source, the softer the light.
Right.
Right. Now, what's the largest light source that we have in our solar system? The sun, right?
Right.
But it's millions of miles away, which makes it a point light source. So on a bright, sunshiny day, you have that sun, which is huge, far away, and the effect is, like if you look at cars or trees, they have hard shadows around them. And features on people's faces, like pimples or imperfections or whatever, they also cast shadows.
Right.
Small shadows, but they cast shadows, which makes the face look less than pleasing.
Right.
If you have a large light source, like say a cloud layer moves in between the sun, like our umbrella, a cloud layer moves in, it diffuses the light source and makes those shadows go away. Like, so you'll notice on a sunshiny day or a overcast day rather, that has a cloud layer, if you look at the shadows on trees and cars, they look soft, right? Same thing with models, you know. So they'll have soft skin, which you still got to bring them into Photoshop or Lightroom and tweak things later, but much less.
Absolutely.
Much less.
Absolutely.
So you're saving yourself work.
Absolutely.
That was your lesson in lighting, whatever.
Thank you.
As if, right? Okay, so let's do a couple more. Okay, let's do some straight on shots this time. So I want you looking right at the camera. Let's just put your hands right in the middle. Okay, it's sort of a pouty look. I'm going to have you tilt your head down a little bit and just sort of look up at me like you did something wrong. You stole some cookies from the cookie jar or something. Again. Yeah, there you go. Good. And I'm going to come in really close on this one. Yeah, just like that. And we'll see. Again, I'm focusing only on the eyes. And I'm shooting at f6.3 right now. I'm going to open up a little bit wider. Okay, let's see what we got. This is fun. You could do this all day. Okay, we're offside. One of my legs is shorter than the other. So let's try that again. Okay, chin down just a little bit. Good, right there. Hold it right there. Good. Okay, chin down just a little bit more. Eyes right up at me. Okay, and a little bit closer. And I'm purposely putting you off to the side of the frame. Okay. Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. So, you know, and this is how we would continue. We just
right.
continue to do this and, you know, maybe have her do a clothing change and maybe change makeup or, you know, that kind of thing. So, what's next?
What else do you have to shoot? So you've done some kind of fashion shots and you've done some stuff. So now, but this is Halloween.
This is Halloween. Yes. So do we have like our fangs?
They won't even get on.
They wouldn't fit?
They had the difficult directions. I couldn't do it.
We bought some amazing True Blood fangs to put on her. 2 sets of fangs, but they don't work. So don't go to Halloween places to buy fangs. Anyway.
Do you know what we used to use for those?
What?
We used to use fake nails.
Really?
And we'd file them down and put them on.
Does that work?
It works really well.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. All right. I'm going to let you shoot a little bit now to show how cool it is. And I'm going to pose. Okay. No, I'm going to pose her. I'm not going to. Okay. You know, and let's go a little bit dramatic. I'm going to take the reflector out for this time. Okay. So this time, let's do that. Let's do the arms around yourself thing like this, with face down a little bit and looking right at Alex like that. I'm going to move the reflector. Now, Alex, you can roll your compensation here by just holding down this plus minus and rolling the roller there, and that'll adjust your overall exposure.
Got it.
In increments. Left is add a stop.
Wait, what am I rolling here? This guy here?
No.
Oh, this guy here.
Nikon, not Canon. This
guy.
There you go. Looks a little dark. I'd roll it back.
I'm working on it.
Oh, I've seen it.
No, that was the last one. See, now I'm taking gimping to a whole nother realm because I'm I'm doing this and I'm no longer looking like this.
You look at there's like 4 monitors in here.
Okay.
Very cool. Okay.
It's it's so funny. I used to shoot Nikon, and now it feels like this foreign little thing.
Really?
Yeah. I don't.
It's just a camera.
I know it's just a camera,
a box
but
with light in it.
There's so many things I'm used to kind of making adjustments for.
I'm gonna have you sit on this part. So now we're just gonna play around.
So how about a very flat dead look?
Dead.
Just
like flat lighting, like passport type lighting?
Just like no, same lighting.
Yeah.
But let's. Well, do you have anything else? I'm just gonna.
Yeah. Well, go ahead.
So what I do is I would bring. Let's. If we bring this around a little bit and get a little bit more of a straight shot, but not totally. And then.
Maybe lower it some.
Yeah. Let's lower this down a little bit.
Yeah.
kind of a just like a, yeah, just flat look.
Just flat, no,
just
no
flat,
emotion?
no emotion at all.
Okay.
Dead, like dead in the eyes.
Oh, I don't know how to do that.
No death. There's no death here, right? Okay, let's try that. All right. That's a little scary. Okay, good. Hold that. Exposure. We're looking a little.
She's looking a little up.
Yeah, let's bring it down a little bit. Remember the days when you had to have a PC cable stuck in here?
Exactly.
Over there?
Here, try getting right down a little bit lower.
Here, go ahead.
I got it. What's the auto? Is the autofocus lock here?
Yeah.
Oops, you say that, but I just I hit it and it's not.
Oh,
you have to go halfway and then lock it.
Yeah,
I got it. You can see that last one didn't work.
That's creative.
Thank you.
It's art.
Am I still taking them out of focus? There we go. Okay, now, if you could kill this camera with your eyes, what would it look like? You're trying to kill the camera with your eye, just with your eyes. Kill it. Put a lot of strain in your eyes to kill it. But don't smile. You're angry at the camera.
I want to see what angry at the camera looks like. That does not look like angry at the camera. You hate the camera. The camera's evil.
Okay.
That's cool. Okay, so
got any other ones?
that's how I do it. Yeah.
That's how you do it?
That's how I do it. Now,
Carolyn, do we have any?
Do
Well,
you have a wardrobe change? Like a different top?
we got some questions. So we got some questions. For
We do
you.
have questions?
Okay, go ahead.
You bring those in while I continue to shoot.
So, so is there a sweet spot as far as camera to talent distance?
No.
No, just
No.
whatever.
Yeah, it just depends
Whatever
on
you
what
can focus.
Well, yeah, and it depends on what you're going for, right?
Right.
So we're doing, these are mainly like headshots that we're shooting right now.
Right.
You know, so, you know, it depends on the lens that you have. It depends on what you're going for in the final
Right.
exposure, you know, the depth of field that you're looking for. Like we're
Right.
shooting with a relatively wide depth of field. We're at f5, right? So their entire head's in focus for the most part,
Right.
But if we were going shallow, then less would be in focus. And it just depended on the lens,
Right.
you know? So...
Right.
And,
And
what
of
you
course,
want.
also if you get really close with a really wide angle lens, it's going to distort a lot of the features.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Which you may want that, you know, but not for this kind of shoot. You know, a lot of photographers like Rebecca Gudlifstadter, right? She does a lot of self-portrait work out of Iceland,
Right.
and she shoots with a wide almost exclusively, and she
Right.
does, you know, herself. She's shooting herself because she wants that Icelandic background distorted with her in the sweet spot of the lens, you know, that kind of look. But here, we want a portrait look. Like, what,
Right.
presumably, we're shooting for this model. This is for her portfolio.
Right.
She's going for auditions for True Blood or whatever. So she needs that, like a normal look, and she needs to look really attractive.
Right.
So that's what we shoot.
Other questions, Carolyn? Can the photographer get too close to the model? Yeah, he's like,
Of course not. You
Yeah,
can't
exactly.
Yes, you can. You know, just my general rule of thumb is, you know, you may want to encroach just a little bit beyond personal space, like, you know, like this. Like, can you move your shoulders like this a little bit
Right.
and bring your chin down? But that's it. You don't want to get anywhere near the danger zones, you know, at all. Just talk to them like you're posing your sister, right? You don't want to do anything that's inappropriate. So just like, okay, do this, do that, you know. Yeah, but don't use the camera as license to get all touchy-feely on a model. You know, in fact, I avoid touching them completely. I can get everything I need to get done by just doing this, and you know, and kind of doing like they've got marionette strings on them. You know?
Perfect. Other questions, Carolyn? Does the using the USB to the laptop, does that cause any kind of delay from taking the photo to the processing of the photo?
No, I could keep shooting really quickly in rapid succession.
It takes a while to get there.
Right. It's going to buffer in the camera, and the camera will tell me how many shots I can take. So, for example, right now, you guys can see this. You can see that right there. Zoom in on that. So right now it says PC because it's connected to the computer, but if I press the shutter down halfway, it's saying R09. That means the buffer has 9 shots remaining in it that I can take before it's going to pause to empty the buffer. And in this case, it's emptying its buffer to the hard drive on the Mac over here. So I can shoot for 9 shots. The other variable in this is the strobe. Now, if I was shooting with just AA batteries in my strobe, I can burn them out really quickly, you know, and my recycles time is going to be slower. But because I have this battery pack on there, that's not an issue. It's going to keep going until the only limitation on this strobe, the SB900, is it will, when it heats up, it'll shut itself down to save you from destroying your strobe.
And there's little things like that.
Yeah, then when it's ready. But you know, for doing stuff like this at this pace, you're never going to hit that limit. You know, generally when I'm shooting, especially if I'm shooting tethered, I'm going to do 3, 4 shots or whatever. Then I'm going to look, and by then my buffer is empty, and then I can keep shooting. So I can keep shooting indefinitely. The other thing about shooting tethered like this is on the Nikon side is I'm not writing to my card. It's bypassing the cards inside the camera and using the hard drive here. So, you know, if you're doing this, don't ever think, oh, I got a copy here, I got a copy there.
You got a copy there.
You got a copy on the computer. That's it. You know, it's gone.
Carolyn, other questions? So are you using aperture priority and relying on the CLS to do the exposure?
Negative. I am shooting in manual mode.
Shooting in manual.
I'm shooting in manual. There where I can control my shutter speed. I can control my aperture myself, and I'm not varying them that much. You know, but you know the main thing here is because we're shooting dark, right? We're shooting and we're going for this dramatic look. I want the background black. So I'm going to shoot at an exposure so that the light doesn't bounce off the background and get back to the sensor. But beyond that, you know, manual is just fine for this. In fact, I prefer manual.
Carolyn? What would you do outside as opposed to inside?
If we're shooting outside, outdoors, with strobe?
With strobe, yeah.
I would have somebody holding my umbrella so it doesn't fly away. That's critical. I mean, because you could set all this stuff, right? I mean, you set up that background.
These are just big sails.
They're big sails. They're gone. They're in traffic. You're going to cause an accident, you know, if you put this stuff outside. So you're going to need people. You know, you can't shoot alone outside.
And oftentimes heavier supports make a big difference. That's when you start bringing C-stands and bigger, you know, a lot of bigger stuff.
Yeah. And that's when you start. I mean, if you have assistants, great, you know, because they can hold things. You can move, you know, Joe McNally calls them the human-activated light stands or whatever, you know, or the voice-activated, the valves. Voice-activated.
And the other thing about that is that you also have to remember that the further any of if you're using a silk to break up the sun, or if you're using any of these, the further they get away from whatever their support is, the more leverage they have. So, you know, as they get further out, when they start getting pulled, they actually have more weight and more power over whatever you're holding up. So you have to always keep that little physics lesson in mind.
Absolutely. And, you know, frankly, outside, outdoors, and if I didn't have an assistant, I wouldn't be messing with this stuff. You know, generally speaking, I would try to shoot at most things available.
Maybe
you know.
maybe a reflector.
Maybe a reflector if I could get somebody to hold it. I'm not going to be doing you know, this action. You know, if somebody can hold it for me, I would do that. In some cases, I've had the model hold the reflector if I'm doing really close on her, and I'm in, you know, shooting an open shade, and I just want to use the reflector as a main light, because in that case, the reflector becomes the main light, and the sun itself becomes fill. You know, so I would do that. But, you know, barring that situation, I would either just, you know, make it work with nothing or, you know, or have an assistant available.
Other questions, Carolyn? So if you're shooting rapid fire, is there any situation where the USB is a hindrance rather than a help?
Yeah.
Well, you're tethered.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, for this kind of stuff where you're demonstrating, it's great, you know. And if you're shooting tabletop photography, like you're talking about, and your camera's on a tripod, and you're shooting with a remote shutter release, and or doing stop animation or something like that, then it's the speed doesn't get you. But we remember like in the days when you're shooting with FireWire tethers, and it's just almost instantaneous showing up there. That is more usable than a USB tether to me, because it's
what cameras actually have a FireWire tether?
Probably some on the Canon side, not the.
Yeah. Well, and I think some of the bigger cameras too.
Right. Yeah. We're shooting, like I was saying before. This is a Nikon D7000, and its outputs are USB, HDMI. And that's.
And I don't think my 5D has it.
Well, my D700 doesn't, and the D3 doesn't. So this is what you're going to get. So you just have to sort of live with it if you need to shoot this kind of photography. The main drawback is just the speed, because it's got to squeeze all that data through here. Now, one thing that Ziv Galat, he's one of the founders of iFi, was saying that this particular camera is really cool because it has dual slots, dual SD slots on there, so you can program one of the slots. You can put an iFi card in one slot,
and then you just have it fire to them. It can be doing that in the background.
Yeah, so you can have it. You can have this particular camera and whatever camera that has two slots. You can say, "Camera, I want you to write my raw files to slot 1, and the smallest JPEG possible to the other one." In the case of the Wi-Fi or the iFi card, write a small JPEG to the iFi card, and that's what's going to get uploaded
and it'll be
wirelessly.
Almost probably as fast.
It would probably be maybe faster, than this. So then now you have no wires on this, and you're shooting, and you could be shooting tethered with an iFi card to anywhere in the world, or wireless tethered, and it's just showing up on the screen.
Exactly, which is great also if you're working with clients or you're working with a remote art director.
Yeah.
So you're sitting there taking photos, the art director's in New York, you're in San Francisco, you're firing stuff off, and they could theoretically be looking at it almost in real time, giving you feedback on whether that's going to work or not.
Totally. Yeah, one of my main criticisms of the iFi card initially was I don't want everything, like if I'm shooting to Flickr, I don't want every shot I take going on Flickr, right? Which could be bad, but they introduced...
so now you can lock it, right?
You can, use a little lock button right here and say whenever I lock an image, that goes up.
Right.
So now you have control.
Yeah.
And I'm still, that's great for like internal situations, or if you're doing weddings or something, you have an assistant sitting at a computer with his cashier's mitt, getting the images, that's cool for that. But typically the images, even my iPhone images that I post online, I want to touch them before I let the world see them, It's kind of like, like women going outside without makeup on, It's like my images, I feel like I want to do something to them before I let anybody else see it, So that's the main limitation I feel like is with iFi is I don't want raw, untouched, uncropped, unlooked at images going out into the ether.
Which is funny because I think most of the time maybe I do some small adjustments to them, but I oftentimes will do nothing.
Yeah, I usually do just a little bit. It depends on what it is. I'll maybe boost the saturation a little bit, or sometimes.
But when I'm actually using them for a job, I definitely do some retouching. But like a lot of my own stuff or whatever, I tend to try to keep it as
low key
as possible.
Yeah.
Carolyn, do you have any other questions? How are you setting your flash exposure?
How am I setting the flash exposure? Well, let's look at the flash, shall we? So,
so the question is, are you using a flash meter, or are you trusting the camera?
Oh, I'm eyeballing it. I'm trusting the camera and eyeballing it. Yeah. In the old world before, in fact, I have a Seikonic light meter that I'd use, and I'd put it under her chin and pop the flash, and okay, it's a 60 to 5.6. I do that. Less necessary now. You can still do that if you want to get down into the bits and pieces and spot meter off the eyeball and all that stuff. But this technology is in my opinion, it's beyond the necessity to do that anymore. So yeah, it's eyeball, and I know generally what my exposure is going to be. So I set the camera and I'll take one and I'll look at it. If it looks too little dark, I'll bump it up a little bit, inside the camera, or adjust the flash and go from there.
Perfect.
So,
other questions, Carolyn? So do you prefer Nikon lenses over, or do you use third-party lenses, and what makes a good lens?
Taking it in the reverse. What makes a good lens? Sharpness.
Yeah.
Sharpness. This is all in my opinion,
and
right?
Sharpness across the entire image.
Right.
Because a lot of times,
corner to corner sharpness. Yeah, it needs to be bulletproof sharp all the way through. The other thing,
and the thing to know is that almost every lens, no matter how good it is not bulletproof,
right.
especially as you open it up.
Yeah.
So as you get to, like, if you have a 1.8 lens and you open it, or let's say a 1.2 lens,
yeah.
at 1.2, it's going to be a little soft everywhere, and especially on the outside edges. A lot of them, the sweet spot is like 5.6 to 8.
6. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, that's that range where you're really hitting where, and that's where you expect.
That's when you see hair follicles and DNA, in the shot. But yeah, so sharpness, and one thing that you are cognizant of, and that's just the durability of the lens. So those two things, the lens needs to be sharp, and it needs to, I need to be able to put it on the ground like that and not worry about it, or throw it in my luggage and let TSA and luggage handlers deal with it and know that when he gets to his destination, it's going to be okay. So for me, it's a personal choice. I always buy Nikon lenses.
Right.
I buy camera manufacturer lenses, not because off-brand or third-party lenses are bad or anything. It's just my personal taste is I like things to match.
Right. They're the same color.
Yeah, well, yeah, and then they're guaranteed to work together and all that, which I'm sure that everything else works fine together as well, but I just, my personal neuroses are that I want Nikon lenses on my Nikon bodies, and I'm willing to wait another couple months to save up the money to get the Nikon lens, so that I know that I got it. And when that gold box comes in the mail, I'm like, oh.
Exactly.
Look, let's just sit on the counter for a while and look at it before I open it.
And the Nikon boxes are so nice.
It is.
Yeah,
it is.
The gold and black.
I keep everything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Other questions, Carolyn? So Canon users have a wireless unit. I know there's these Canon users. They have a wireless unit that'll transmit to the iPad. Does the Nikon have anything like that?
That a wireless unit that will transmit to an iPad specifically. Now there's a Wi-Fi unit for Nikon. I don't know if there's an iPad catcher's mitt. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. I haven't had a need to do that yet to shoot to an iPad.
Other questions, Carolyn? Is it how hard is it to do black? Can you set up a black and white shot? Someone wanted to see black and white shots in this setup. We would normally do that later
I would do that later. Yeah. In fact, that's a really good question. So, on most modern DSLRs, they have these various modes that you can shoot in black and white. You can shoot in sepia and all that. And
I never use any of that.
I would recommend.
I just want it to be as flat as possible.
Recommend against it.
Just give me the image, and I'll work on that later.
Yeah, you want the camera to scrape that raw data off the sensor and give that to you. You take that, hand it over to your post-processing application of choice, in my case Lightroom, in your case Aperture, and do your tweaking. You can set your color balance later. Because your camera, if you set your camera at tungsten color balance, you're shooting JPEG, and you set it at tungsten color balance, it's going to assume, based on a variety of factors, what the colors in the room are going to look like, or should look like, and base the subject on that when you shoot it. It's going to bake that into the image data forever. It's like baking a cake. When you shoot RAW, it's just giving you the sensor data without doing any of the baking. So it's kind of like if JPEG is a cake, it's like going and buying a cake that's already baked. You're like, okay, great, I kind of like it or whatever. With RAW, they're giving you all the ingredients for that cake so that you can bake it as many times as you want with different combinations, flavors, or in the case of photography, under different lighting conditions. So you can say, no, I want to see what she would look like under fluorescent lighting, or under tungsten lighting, or under sunlight, or an open shade. You can do all that later in post instead of relying on your camera to do it.
And as these cameras become more powerful, we're getting more and more and more ability to do that. When you look at the extreme exposures that both Canon and Nikon can do now, when you look at HDR coming down the path, when you're looking at some of the new Litro camera, Litro camera, where you're able to get everything in focus. I have a feeling that we're slowly going down this path where you basically the camera acquires the scene.
Right.
It acquires all the information from the scene. It requires, the full exposure from the light filaments down to the darkest shadows, everything in focus, and then you're going to have, and Photoshop will become an entirely different world where you go and recompose the image.
You harvest that
you harvest the image. And for those people who are scared, there'll still be like a film setting or basic setting where when you take it, it makes all those assumptions of this is what you meant to do when you took that photo.
Yeah.
But RAW may turn into a whole different world.
Yeah,
where
for me,
here's 22 exposures, everything in focus, but you can refocus it and move it around.
Totally. Think about motion too. That stuff gets really interesting when you. I mean, we're talking about one single frame of light field, three-dimensional data that you can then harvest. What about when you take that and you stretch it over 29.97 frames per second? So now you have a scene that in post-production you can say, you know what?
Your rack focuses.
Yeah, I don't want the heroine in focus in this shot. Let's focus on that guy in the back. You know, and
or
then
let's rack between one to the other during the shot.
Yeah,
exactly, and all that stuff will be set. Anyway, that's
coming.
Yeah,
that's coming. But it translates to
feel.
photography, to still photography as well. You know, like we were talking to Sarah France on the show that we recorded yesterday. You're out doing wedding photography, right? So you're shooting the bride and groom. You can now later, you shoot the whole scene, but now you can later decide, okay, I want the bride to be in focus in this shot, or I want the groom to be in focus.
Well, and we've been doing this for a long time. Once you've done post-production, people like me will sit there and take photos, and if there's something wrong in the background, I'm like, okay. And I say, like, if I'm taking a portrait of a bunch of people, I say, just smile, and I just start firing off photos. And I'll take like 15 or 20 photos, knowing that I'm going to harvest a good portrait out of this. It may not be all the same ones, but it'll all work.
Adobe in Photoshop.
Oh yeah.
And Photoshop Elements. Yeah. It has a feature where, like, say you're taking a picture of your kids, right? You got your kids sitting there, and you have 3 shots, and they're all wrong, but one kid is right in each shot. You can tell the software to put them together and make one good shot with everybody's eyes open, everybody's looking at the camera in the same shot. So these kind of things, a lot of people say this is cheating. This post-production stuff is cheating. In my day, I used to shoot on film, and you had to get the exposure right. It was plus or minus, a third of a stop for a slide film. That's largely gone. Technology. It's becoming niche. We're seeing a resurgence of that, though. We're seeing a resurgence of people shooting film.
Then there's also the Instagram revolution of that's almost a revolution against. A revolt against the perfect image, which is that I'm going to take a photo and it's actually going to dirty it up and do something random to it, and I just want to capture it in this kind of, that's the way it,
Yeah. What was the phrase I coined a couple years ago? Pixels were born to be punished. That's pixels want to be punished.
They want to.
You want to. I mean, you want to. Like when I'm shooting iPhone photography, I'm not shooting anything that's like, okay, this is going on the cover scene. Right. I'm shooting stuff for memory or just to play with it, or hey, look what I did, and I hit a button and I share it with the Flickr and Twitter, followers. But I'm capturing raw material to play with inside the computer that's in my phone. I'm not capturing data that needs to be a visual record of what happened there, unless I'm doing that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Unless something happens or UFO lands and I get a picture.
Then you wish you had a bigger camera. Yeah,
exactly.
Other questions, Carolyn? And we're going to run out of time here in a second, but we'll answer 1 or 2 more. Light-skinned person and dark-skinned person in the same shot. How do you manage the light?
Oh, very carefully.
That's what raw images are good for too, because you can get something in between, and then you go into Photoshop and you bring one up. You put go back and forth.
Yeah, I mean it's common sense, right? So dark skin or dark colors absorb more light than light colors do, or than light skin. So if I put you in the shot with her, and I make one exposure, if I expose for you, she's going to be too dark. If I expose for her, you're going to be blown out. So as the job of the photographer, if you shoot in RAW, you have a latitude of about 2 stops or so to fix both of you. You may or may not get it. You may lose shadow detail on her, I may lose highlight detail on you. So what you want to do is balance the exposure. If you have the facilities like these wonderful Pixel Core studios, you can do that here, right? So I can say I want more light on Alex or more light on her and less on you, right? I can do that. If you're outside, you have less control over that. So you just have to understand what the limitations of lighting this is. There's no magic formula to okay, here I'm shooting
And a lot of times, I find that there's an interesting thing when you get into that. I've done a fair bit of photography in Africa, and just exposed properly for the skin color that I'm taking, and it creates these kind of ethereal images that I really enjoy.
Yeah.
You know, because everything is really bright, and it's just I find that to be a very fascinating look.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people hit that problem, especially in weddings. I think when they're doing mixed racial or mixed race weddings. You know, white man, black woman, or vice versa, or whatever. And you're shooting in these harsh conditions, like it's the first dance, and they're on the beach in Santa Monica.
Right.
You know,
yeah, what are you gonna do?
There's only so much you can do. You
right.
know, so you just have to work it. You just know that you're going to spend a lot of time in post production trying to get those balanced right. You know.
Yeah.
So you do what you can do.
Okay, one more question, Carolyn. What do we got? Little off topic. Any opinion about the micro 4/3 camera?
People always ask me that. The micro 4/3 camera. No, not yet. I love them. I mean, I love those little cameras, and when it's necessary that I buy one, I will. So my thing right now, I mean, they're great. They're wonderful. Like, I mean, the pen, they're stylish, all that stuff, right? But for me, like looking at my normal workflow and how I use photography, I'm doing this kind of stuff. Right? Or I'm going to do a workshop, I'm going to use a DSLR, I'm going to use a D700 or the D3. And when I'm not doing that, I'm probably going to use this other camera.
Well, and I think that's
so,
for me, that's the same thing, is that I have this issue with the micro 4/3. I think they're really cool.
Yeah.
My issue is that they don't solve the problem that I need. I need to either go in my pocket, or I need it to be, if I'm pulling something out, if I'm carrying something outside of my pocket, I expect it to get me something that is magazine quality. You know, like that's what I'm, you know, and I think they do a great job, but I don't think that they're in the same field as your D700 or even the D7000 or my 5D. You know, they're just in two different worlds. And so I think that's the problem that I get into.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I frankly, I think a lot of it's fashion. You know, you know, it's like, okay, look at that cool camera that photographer's carrying around. Oh, you must be really good, you know.
Yeah.
For me, I'm happy carrying that around. It's not that heavy, it's little, and I understand it. And plus, you know, because I'm, you know, and you're the same way, you're in the Canon system, you understand intrinsically how the menus, and you know, okay, sunset is over there behind the Golden Gate Bridge, I know how to set my camera real quick to get that shot, you know, no matter which Canon camera you have, right? And I'm the same way with my Nikons, you know, they're all very similar in how they work, because I can grab one, and I'm ready to go, you know, I can shoot it. And same with my iPhone. I know how to use my iPhone. I know what its limitations are, and I can shoot with it really quickly. So between these two systems, I'm pretty much covered right now. Now, that's not to say I'm not going to get gear lust and go get something. But, you know, right now,
we're okay.
Yeah, I'm okay for now.
So I think before we let her go, I want to take a couple more photos.
Yes.
So we get some scary photos out.
Ooh.
Because we have, it's Halloween.
Yes.
Halloween. And I might do some stuff here. So, oops, I just took a picture of the ceiling. Yeah, exactly. Hold on. Okay, so, oops, I just zoomed way in.
Yeah, just hit it. There you go.
There we go. So let's...
see, if those fangs had stuck on her, they'd be sticking down right there.
I know. So now, if you had... Let's see here. Let's see what we got here. See, I have it set up differently on my camera, and I'm having the dexterity is hard.
Yeah.
Because I have it set up so that when on my Canon, that if I push this in, it just does the autofocus.
Oh yeah.
So it doesn't lock it.
I'm old
that
school.
is the focus. Like you know, that's like so I keep on going like this, going. It's not
working.
Doing anything.
Yeah, I'm old school. I'm used to just half press.
Yeah,
shoot.
yeah, exactly.
That's it.
Okay, so that's probably pretty close here. Hold on. That's too bright.
Whoa.
So we're overexposing.
You are overexposing.
What did we change here?
Plus minus. Right here. Yeah, hit that. You're under a stop. For some reason that
Let's try it
blew out of the...
I'm having trouble with the Nikon.
Something's going on. You are overexposing, my friend.
Yeah, it's blowing out. This half stop crap.
Bring it down. Just bring the overall exposure down.
Every time I go to this hat.
You could be shooting in manual, you know.
It is a manual.
Yeah, that's there. Yeah, it is putting out a lot of light.
Hold on. Is that better? Hold on, let's see.
Let's do this. Let's take that and let's Oh, you're shooting at a 60th of a second. That's why. And you went to aperture.
Well, that's because I was trying to see if it would just correct it, but it seems to.
Oh no, yeah. I would shoot about right there.
That's where I was.
And load. Load. There you go. Yeah, that's better.
Still looks a little bright.
It's a little bright. You're down like 2 stops. Interesting.
I don't know.
I don't know what you did to my camera, man. It knows you're a Canon shooter.
Yeah, Nikons. Okay. Let's try it one more time. Still looks pretty bright.
That looks very passporty.
Very passporty?
Yes.
And it looks out of focus.
Out of focus and passporty.
It's getting there. It's still out of focus. I can't quite get it today.
Old age.
I just need to get I want my Canon back.
See, you can keep going.
This will work. It's making her crazy. See, that's the whole thing.
Yeah. It's the surface of the sun.
It's still a little bright, but I think we can probably recover it.
Yeah.
So now, if you could show your fangs, if you had them, and you're gonna open your mouth and show them, what would it look like?
Would I open
like
my mouth?
if you were like
Okay.
like this.
If
Okay?
there were fangs in there.
If you had fangs in there.
Yeah.
Okay. Meaner, angrier, eviler.
Suge.
Well, we'll see how that turns out. I just don't feel like it's getting into focus. I don't.
No, you look like your
all looks
focus
like
is
it's
off. Let me see this. You are on AF. You are here. That is good.
You try it.
I am. I don't want to show you up though. Yeah.
It's fine. I feel like I'm just pushing the button. It's supposed to work.
Yeah.
It's on center. It's on center focus, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That's weird. Okay.
I don't know. I don't know how to. I can't use a Nikon anymore.
I know. It's all right.
I feel like the thing is just firing off by itself.
Let's see.
People are watching like, what the heck?
That is really. Yeah, I don't feel like that's controlling it. We probably just need to reset it. You did something.
I don't know what I did.
You killed my camera.
Anyway, so I think we got some photos to play with.
We did.
We'll see what happens
So
here.
you're gonna do.
So we'll see. Well, I'm going to go through some photos, see if I can't find one that we can make a little scary.
Yes.
And play with. And so we'll go from there. Now, just a reminder to everyone who's watching, we have. Number one is right after this. We'll be doing the after show. So we'll be talking about the production of the show, actually.
Oh, cool.
And then the other thing is, so we'll stop here in a second. And then the other thing to remember is that next week, every Thursday, 6 p.m., we got live streams. Next week is Gear Media Tech. Brent Bai is going to be here talking about production goodness. And so we'll be doing probably a little bit more of this from a video perspective.
Yes.
And talking about good stuff. So that'll be a lot of fun to have Brent along with us. And so stay tuned for that. And again, we have Inside the Black Box. We have Mac Break Studio. So there's a lot of things happening every Thursday at 6. Mm-hmm. So make sure to tune in for that. And of course, Mac Break on Tuesdays.
Yep.
And I think
get in the meetup.
What?
Go to our meetup group.
Well, there's the meetup.
Yeah,
and you gotta sign up. You gotta sign up. You gotta sign up early.
Yeah, because people get mad at me because
you're like, I couldn't get in.
You know, and we started the RSVP list at 50.
Yep.
Filled up. So I thought, okay, let me increase it to 75. Gone. Right. You know, and there's still a waiting list. So the next one after this, I'm gonna open up in about a week.
I think we're gonna need to
after
find a bigger venue.
One. We need a bigger venue.
Like I'm thinking Oakland Coliseum. Yeah. I was thinking the Coliseum. Yeah. It'd be like TWIP.
Yeah.
Also,
no.
Remember, if you're watching this stream and if somehow you watch the stream and you wonder what TWIP is an audio podcast where the two of us and some of our friends talk about photography, and of course you can find that on iTunes.
Yeah, because it's only one of the most popular ones on iTunes right now. You know, it's a very popular, and I'm being flippant, but
yeah.
This Week in Photo is it's one of the longest running and most popular photography related podcasts on iTunes. So, and Alex and I host it, and we have generally it's a roundtable format. Mm-hmm. We have different people on every week, and we talk about what's topical in photography for that particular week. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's controversial, sometimes it's educational, but it's always entertaining.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah,
exactly.
It's a good show.
All right.
Fun.
Thank you so much for watching, and this has been TWIP Live.
Done.
Great.